Welcome back to the 3 Miles MC. I'm today here in the Netherlands with Nick's Aprilia Tuono Generation 1. This is an incredible bike. Many people regard the Ducati Monster as the first proper super naked, but that was with its air-cooled V-twin, more of a cafe bike. And if you have a look at this is a true super naked. It is basically the RSV super bike from Aprilia, just with some handlebars slapped onto it. And it is an incredible bike. The engine is not detuned in any way, no electronic rider aids, nothing. This is a really raw and rough machine. And compared to the Super Sport from Aprilia, of course the weight distribution is then a lot more to the back, as it doesn't have a front end of a normal Super Sport. So this is going to be a really exciting ride. It has an Austrian produced V-twin engine with a 60-degree crank compared to the 90-degree cranks of the Ducatis at the time, and in my opinion a really special styling. This bike comes with 0 electronic rider aids except for a lap timer, and it's going to be a really intense and exciting ride. So let's hear from Nick, the owner of the bike, what he has done to this motorcycle.
Welcome to the 3 Miles MC. This is my 2005 Tuono. I bought it a few years ago, about 5 years ago, and I intended to just ride it on a regular basis. Since a year ago I crashed my GSXR track bike, so this is going to be my new track bike from now on. I bought a Capo Nord, which is behind Miles. So this is going to be a rundown. It looks quite original, but it isn't. The color, I changed it because I had an Alfa Romeo in the same color and I wanted to have a good match, so I had it repainted. Those are other saddle covers with Italian stripings. It has a Acropofits exhaust, of course. And all the carbon parts are non-original. They're all aftermarket, so I think it suits the bike very well. Back to Miles.
So let's see how comfortable this motorcycle is to sit on. First of all, the seat height is quite high. For context, I'm 6'5". Nick should be around the same height. This works really well. It probably gets uncomfortable after some time, as this is really going fast focused, but all the motorcycle almost feels like a glove. Well, except the one thing that doesn't completely fit is my legs to the tank, but at 6'5", what are you expecting on an Italian bike? For this being an Italian sports bike, basically, well, super naked, and me being quite a tall person, this works really well. Let's get going. We are now out here on the open road on the Aprilia Tuono Gen 1, and I have to say it's an amazing bike. We earlier rode this bike through some of the flower fields, and that was incredibly beautiful. In general, the Netherlands are a very beautiful country. I underestimated it, as I just thought it's just straight road basically and some windmills. About the Aprilia Tuono Gen 1, I have to say, what a bike. That thing feels brutal. Like, the suspension is so hard that going over those bumps feels like falling on your ass while ice skating. This motorcycle is absolutely ear-deafeningly loud. Like, you really feel it in your chest. You really feel when you get onto the V-twin, you feel it making sounds in your chest, like, most definitely. Also, I really love how the gauges look, that everything is so central with the revs in the middle, and it really feels like a fighter jet, this bike. And how my legs mold to the tank. Of course, now I'm a bit tall, but if you would be about like 2 to 3 centimeters smaller, so for everyone I think up to 1.93 m, this should be fine. I have a few centimeters too much, but I'm still going to say it is a great bike for tall people. Like, there are very little bikes that have this kind of motorcycle feel that are that doable for people my size. Let's go! Woo! Like, you really need to, like, when it comes to daily rideability, you really need to support your weight on the bike with your feet, otherwise you will turn into a spineless creature. Let's see for a moment what the thing can do. Fucking hell. This thing is quick. 3, 2, 1, go. Whee. That was quick. Okay, more. He says me to do more throttle. Holy fucking shit! Oh. Yeah, okay. The thing is properly quick. When properly accelerating on the bike feels incredibly quick. Like, it is almost like the tire is not moving the bike forward, but spinning the world underneath you. And also, the sound of the bike is so loud that you really feel it in your chest. Now that we pulled over for a short moment, I really felt it in my lung and in my heart that I was constantly having this really loud exhaust behind me. You can really feel that this is not a bike that you push over to lean. It's a bike that just falls into the turn, because the tires are like really pointy, so it's a bit of a different riding, because the bike then leans over and then it just like wants to lean and wants to lean and lean. And the rear brake is shit. Like, I just tried to brake with the rear brake and there was nothing there. Well, this is an amazing motorcycle. So we just went a bit quicker. How was that? Because when riding something like that, it's hard to comprehend. I'm a bit lost for words, as this feels very, very, very intense, and you can go very quick on this bike. This bike is very nimble and just an absolute menace to ride. And combined with this super, super, super loud engine that just absolutely rings your ears off. About going a bit quicker earlier on the bike, I have to conclude I cannot push this bike to its limits, like far away from it, especially not here. Like, the limits of a bike like that are so far gone. Like, we can maybe explore a third or a quarter of this what this bike can do here, and the rest is basically restricted to the racetrack. It's hard to say many things about the bike, as we're so far from those bikes' limits, and if you like living and like having a license, it's also very hard to get to those limits. This is such a nice... Whoa! This bike is so nice to ride in the curves. It is just an absolute weapon of a bike. This is, when you made your motorcycle license, this type of bike and this type of performance. This is what your parents were worried about, that you buy shit like this. 100%. I just pushed it a bit and I just had a scary moment where I had the rear slip and almost drove the bike off the road. And I gotta say, a motorbike like this, you need to know how to ride. You need to know how to ride, you need to do a safety training, and you should take this bike on track. Oh, there's the modern one. There was the new Tuono. I'm going to try the... How is the bike called again? Cap Nord. I'm going to try the Cap Nord, as the power figures are quite similar. And it's nice because this thing has electronic suspension and all electric rider aids. Let's see how basically the same experience is with everything that this bike doesn't have. I'm curious about this one too, as Nick told me that I have to try it, and let's try it out to have it as a comparison to the Aprilia Tuono Gen 1. Wow, this is a lot more... Wow, okay, yeah, this is a world's difference. A world's difference. I really love the very beautiful tail light of the Aprilia Tuono Gen 1 with the dual tail light. And that is also something that wouldn't pass through the German road safety test, the TÜV. In general, we later in the discussion will also talk about how that bike over there can be quite a pain in the ass in Germany when it comes to legalities. Even though those are similar power figures, this is I think 1200 or 1300, and this is a 90-degree V-twin. With the same power figures, you definitely feel that this bike with its 181 kilo dry weight is a lot lighter than those here. I think 250 almost. Like the bike, we just did a little acceleration pull and Nick just pulled away completely.
I am sorry for the slight disturbances in the following audio, as I sadly damaged my Tascam when recording a second take for the sound clip of the engine.
So we are now back from taking the Aprilia Tuono Generation 1 out on the road, and what an incredible experience. Like, what a bike to ride. It feels so raw and so unfiltered. Basically just has either you don't get on the gas, and as soon as you get on the gas it's all go all the time. And also it's like the revs start to pick up like so quickly from down low. Like as soon as you hit 3000 RPM the party starts basically. And
yes,
it is really crazy and really unfiltered as a machine, and I think this is kind of as crazy as it gets without any electronics and any like how you can kind of tame a motorcycle from the electronic standpoint. And it's an incredible bike to ride, I have to say.
Yes, sensibly speaking, they should have tamed it down.
Yeah,
But they didn't, and that makes it just a crazy experience. It's so blazingly fast.
and
It's a whole different experience.
yeah, and literally all the control you have over this motorcycle is in your wrist.
Yes.
And that is just
Yes.
insane. And
It could get you in real trouble real quick.
yeah, and also because they just took the sport bike frame, took the sport bike engine, and we're just like, yes, let's slap a superbike handlebars on it, and that is it, which leads to this really weird weight dynamic where you don't have your weight on the front, so the thing constantly wants to go up at the front. And I now did not have the courage to let it go up.
Yeah.
As soon as I felt the front becoming light, I was like, this is not my bike, I'm not doing this. And it is so incredible and so raw and unfiltered, and I think it's really a one-of-a-kind experience.
The main thing about the light front end is they have a steering damper,
Okay.
and it's undrivable without. If you
They have a steering.
Yes,
it's
yes.
down there because I always.
it's here.
I didn't know because I was scared when riding. I was like, shit, this thing doesn't even have a steering
If
damper.
you remove the steering damper on this bike, it's undrivable. It's just want a tank slap all the way.
Yeah, and wow, like it is so fast. Like you like we now rode it here on the roads, and we kind of stayed in the legal room of things, and we were maybe able to tap into the potential of like maybe 1/4 of this machine.
I think not even.
Yeah, like you can go a lot quicker.
Yeah,
like literally, I think there's no point in owning this bike unless you want to take it to the track.
But there is a special version of this bike, which is the Tuono Racing.
Yeah.
And that's a really cool bike, really sought after. But there was I believe it was in England, there was a special racing series with these bikes.
Okay.
And they had a special yellow cowlings with no headlight in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's if you get one of those, you're a lucky man.
Yeah. Speaking of the headlight, the front fairing looks actually kind of nice. It is so hard to pull that off on a sport tourer to make a good-looking front fairing. I like the most featured bike on the channel is the Yamaha XJ, and that one is a acquired taste, and this one is actually quite nice, and it's also so functional. Like it actually kept some wind off my chest.
Well, the fun thing is the fairing is exactly the same as the RSV. I already cut it off like here.
Oh,
So
okay.
the top part is just the same.
Oh, nice. And it works so nice because they have those tank molds here, and they perfectly hide your legs.
Yes.
Well, not my legs completely, but I see
It's
how it works.
designed for Italians about 1.60 m high, so we're a bit tall.
Yeah, but one thing I have to say, for a tall person, this works incredibly well.
Yes, it does.
This works I am not built for any motorcycle, and this is like so close to working.
It's a really big bike. It's not a small one.
Yeah, and even I can sit comfortably on it. The only thing that I can complain about is that I cannot really hide my legs behind this.
No.
And apart from that, it's completely fine for my size, and I think for someone who's like 1.93 m, it could work. And that is pretty cool. And like already talking about how certain things on the bike look, the looks of this machine are insanely gorgeous. I think this is a one-of-a-kind looking machine, and kind of newer sports bike are kind of you need to get used to looking at them, but this one just looks beautiful.
They're alien-like.
Yeah,
the headlights especially, like bees or insects.
Yeah,
like,
and it's
weird.
It's weird, but this one looks classic and Italian, with all its exposed parts being put in a way that they don't look as functional as they are. But like with the golden grills in front of this, and with the black cover that you now replace with carbon, it looks amazing. It is a gorgeous bike, and also the handlebars look so cool in gold, and the suspension looks so cool. And that's actually like one of the issues. Like I talked to a few people who own this bike in Germany, and they often have the issue that they take their bike to the roadworthiness thing, the TÜV, and they just say no because they don't believe that this motorcycle is stock, from the adjustable suspension at the top and from the handlebars. And you cannot even get the rear lights legally in Germany.
I think you have to block off one of the lights.
Yeah, you have to block one of the lights off in Germany with the dual.
And
rear light.
If you get like the factory or the racing, it's even cooler because you get the O-ring forks. These are Marzocchi.
I think Scheimer?
No, this one is from Sachs.
Yeah?
And this is Marzocchi.
Marzocchi, okay.
I don't know how you pronounce it, but if you get like a factory or a racing, you get Öhlins.
Oh,
and
nice.
That's really cool.
That's really cool. And like all in all, this is an amazing machine.
Yeah.
It is really cool. Like, how much did you pay for this on the used market?
I don't know. I think I paid about 3,000, 4,000 euros.
That's
5 years ago.
3,000, 4,000 euros for this is absolutely insane. Also, this is an Italian sports bike, and you feel the Italian flavor in it. And you don't have desmodromic valves like on a Ducati.
No,
so
it's regular.
So it's not going to break the bank when servicing it, which...
Well, people say Italian stuff is unreliable, but it has only two quirks. The rear brake never works. That's an Italian thing. And the battery dies often.
Yeah.
And you have to replace the battery like every year. But besides that, oil, spark plugs, filters.
Yeah.
That's it.
Like, this is an incredible deal, but one thing that I have to say about this motorcycle is there's no point in owning this bike unless you take it to the track. Because
perhaps, yes.
Yeah, like taking this bike on the normal road like we did today, it always feels like a monster in a cage a bit.
It's trying to get out.
And it always wants to go. And like I remember I was behind you on the Capo Nord, and you were like going through the turns, and I thought, this guy is probably having fun up there, while I'm like, I want to go, because the bike just demands that from you. And like, if you own this bike, please take it to the track.
This will get the worst out of you. Trust me.
Like 100%. Like I don't see owning this bike and keeping my license. Like
it's been a hard journey.
Yeah.
But works out sometimes.
Yeah, but it is so cool, and you're so quickly up to speed. And like, I did not even manage to fully rev out the gears here on the street now. I once tried to, when we get onto the highway, I tried to rev out second gear, and I went up all the way to 9,500 roughly, but
it just keeps going.
It just keeps going, and it feels like an endless amount of power. And the thing is, of course, there are motorcycles that are more powerful, that have more horsepower and whatever, but this is completely untamed. You basically have, mapping-wise, just full fuel, full go, and you have brakes that, they brake as well as you can with your hands. And that's about it. No anti-hopping clutch, there's nothing saving you.
Well, it has a slipper clutch.
Oh,
It has a slipper clutch.
there's a slipper clutch.
So it's track oriented. So
But-
obviously it has a slipper clutch.
But it still locks up when you shift down.
Of course, because it's a
Yes.
giant V-twin.
Yes, so the slipper clutch helps a bit.
Even if the slipper clutch is broken, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
You will notice it immediately. It will be when you go off the gas in lower gearing. It will
Yeah.
feel like it's going to stop.
And also, like, this bike is so loud. Like I thought that the DB killer is not in the bike when we rode, and then we arrived here, and he was like, "Let's take the DB killer out." I was like, "What?" Because when riding, I felt the thing in my lung and in my chest, and every time
Yes.
we stopped, I had a little bit of pain in my heart, where I was like, "Oh, I just sat next to something really, really loud."
Yeah, and it also has a K&N filter inlay,
Yeah.
but the airbox is factory already open.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So and you have,
I don't see that going through
you have
German
like
TÜV as well.
you have like on top of the intakes you have double throttles,
Okay.
and on top of you have those velocity stacks.
Oh, okay.
So it's really high tech in there.
That's like, if it's so open, it's going to be sound wise completely
It's really
insane.
it's from the front already. It's really loud.
Yeah, like, and you feel the bass of the engine
Yes.
so strongly, and I like, body position wise, I could ride this bike for longer amounts of time than we did today, but sound wise, I couldn't. Like,
I took this bike on multiple trips to the Eifel. It is doable. It is going to destroy your back, your arms, your neck,
yeah,
and your knees.
and your
but-
drums, and
It is doable.
yeah. But-
It's the bike you drive for an hour, and that's enough.
Yeah, also because your brain cannot handle that much of it. It's like playing a really intense video game
Yes.
that you have to
Yeah,
put
yeah.
away after an hour, because it's just like all the
You
things
get
that...
run down mentally.
Yeah, you get run down mentally insanely quick on this bike, and when you take off the helmet, you're just like, fuck.
What
Like,
happened?
we stopped today 2 times, and I was thankful about the stops, not from a physical standpoint, from a mental standpoint. But all I have to assume, for around 3,000 to 4,000 euros, this is absolutely insane. Insane, and even if you're not going to take it to the track for 3,000 to 4,000 euros, this is crazy. The only thing that just has to be said, this thing is incredibly dangerous. And not just for your license, but probably also for your physical well-being. But apart from that, it's a really, really cool bike. And thank you for having me here in the Netherlands and letting me ride it.
No problem.
Feel free to leave your opinion on the Aprilia Tuono Gen 1 in the comments. And if you have a bike that you would like me to review, feel free to write me an email, especially if you live in Eastern Europe, as the next motorcycle trip is going to start. And we're probably going to head east. It's going to be a surprise. Maybe we'll head east. But if you live in Eastern Europe, feel free to write me an email. I'm looking forward to it. And see you soon on the 3 Miles MC.
One more thing, during editing of this video, I reached 10,000 subscribers here on YouTube. I'm super happy about that. I'm going to do a Q&A video about the 10,000 subscribers, so feel free to leave your questions in the comments.